the green, camouflagey, gnarled bark, London plane tree, Platanus X acerifolia. Right, this is the hybrid offspring of the American sycamore, Platanus occidentalis, and the Eurasian plane tree, Platanus orientalis. They hybridized somewhat naturally in England after having been unnaturally transported there. And the hybrid that was produced was shown to have heterosis, or hybrid vigor. This is a very common, very useful, very widespread street tree, preferred over our native sycamore, because native sycamore gets sycamore anthracnose, which is a very nasty disease. Here we have another very common street tree that also exfoliates in these little plates, or these little patches. This is Zelkova serrata, Japanese Zelkova of the Ulmaceae, and you can tell the bark is very different color and texture. None of this red hue will typically be found in the bark of a London plane tree. But they are both exfoliating barks, and both very common street trees. Here we have another European ash, Fraxinus excelsior. I seem to be coming in contact with a lot of these today. This has a less linear and more blocky, more digital, blocky, and kind of messy bark. This bark kind of comes close to looking like, I don't know, maybe persimmon or flowering dogwood. Not quite as blocky. Still, there's a little bit of linearity to this bark, but certainly not as much as green ash, which is the other common street tree, which is much more commonly planted than this. So across the street, there we have European ash, Fraxinus excelsior, blocky, not very ridged, not as ridged or linear. And then across the street, we have green ash, our native green ash, much more vertical, much more ridged, much different textured bark. This is a fun bark. This has these long, scaly, very light-colored ridges. This is Katsura. This is Japanese Katsura, Cercidophyllum japonicum. This is a pretty awesome tree. There's a lot of big ones planted as street trees in Syracuse, and I'm always kind of surprised by it because it's kind of a refined. I think of it as a botanic garden tree, or a tree you'd find in the yard of a, fancy person. But these light-colored strips, almost like scaly, like, I don't know, shagbark hickory if it didn't exfoliate. Maybe like a little bit like red or silver maple. It's pretty beautiful. So we have Katsura there, London plane tree here with that camouflage bark, green ash there with that quite linear interlacing ridges and furrows, and then we have Zelkova serrata right there. Also camouflage bark, but you see that orange peeking through.